Even come to my attention over the years that we expect them to get all this training on their own time and not really do anything for them other than say, go please, and when you get done, we'll consider you to be a special, correct? And I think that we...
Yeah, that's a little bit more firm than we are, but when they graduate there's no reason not to take them. So
I follow you there, Chief, thank you. But my problem was we want to attract as many as we can.
Many qualified as we can.
And I think I mentioned this to Fred the other day that maybe we ought to have some kind of incentive there. But if you're going to do the training here, you think that will be more pleasant an experience for them in terms of economical experience in relation to cost of driving to class and all that?
Maybe a little bit, but I think the bigger issue is going to be the discussion we'll have whether or not we're going to pay them for that 200 hours of time that they currently are not compensated for. You know, personally, I'm going to present that that's what we're going to do. That's what I've budgeted for, because I just find it unrealistic that we're going to get somebody over a 4-month period of the training, a 3-month period they currently do a couple nights a week. That's one thing for 4 hours a day they can put in. Yeah. We're going to ask somebody to come work for us basically 25 to 30 hours a week solid time and not be paid. I think that's unrealistic. That people are going to jump on that.
What do you use for the pay scale, Chief?
What's in our contract?
Okay,
it's the minimum number for our special.
And the 68,000 will cover that?
No, it's actually less, the amount I'm talking about for the hours, and what I anticipate we'll have for a class. I think the number I have in there will cover that, yes.
Okay. That answers that question. Thank you, Mr.
And that's the starting rate of $16
Yeah, and again, we still have much to formulate in that. How do we pay it? As an hourly? Do we pay that as a stipend upon graduation? Those are all discussions we'll have to have.
But it's in here, in your...
I've got a number I believe that will cover
you can make work.
I think.
Thank you, Chief.
Are you continuing, Dick?
Huh?
Are you continuing?
Yeah. On the cruisers, I think I'm remembering what the cause is of this, but correct me if I'm wrong, but we actually made purchases for 2012, but we actually made them in 2011.
That's correct.
The comparison between 2000.
We had one in the current budget, now
right.
we have 4. Yeah.
So that's skewing the comparison
that's
of 13's budget with 12 because they were made from 2011 funds. Obviously, there's 2 lines that affect that. One is for the vehicle itself, the other is for the equipment.
Yep.
Are we into the situation now where we're unable to move some of the equipment from the old cruisers into the new ones because of the different vehicle or whatever, so that's part of what's driving it?
Yes.
Okay. And the final question, whatever I have on the cruisers, is I believe in these numbers, we're assuming $35,000 coming out of the detail account. So if I look on page 862, I see 112 for the purchase, 35 out of details, being a net 77,000 in the operating budget. My question is basically if we can afford to take more of that out of the detail account, and let me go to the specifics of the question. At the end of 2011, we had $72,000 in that account.
If I can I know where you're going with it.
Okay.
The 3 other items I need to talk to you about, that's one of them. I'm going to be asking you to dip into that now to
for other purposes.
To buy a vehicle because we just had a deadline one for a significant reason.
Okay, because it looked to me like right now there's 116,000.
Yeah.
We did 40,000 last year.
I'll be asking for your approval to take 40,000 out of that now for a vehicle that just went
so
down.
in essence, and we don't need to go to that at this moment, but you're actually looking, it looked to me like we could take a lot more money. It sounds like you're looking between the 2 or 3 to take 75,000 out of the detail.
Right.
Okay. Let's see. Why was the gasoline account in the traffic control and the patrol, the biggie, so low last year? And if you go to page 59 with the account that ends at 6350, we spent 90,000 in 2011, yet we only had 58,000 budgeted in 12, and now you're looking to pop that up to 85. Well, the 85 makes sense in relation to what we spent. Something funny went on there.
You know what it is? Last year we didn't make gasoline adjustments. We absorbed it. And this year Mike went through all of the budgets and based on current trends and run rates made adjustments. That's the answer.
Okay. Because it looks reasonable in relation to what we actually spent in 11 or 12. It's just a comparison.
Right.
Looks a little funny compared to... Okay, thanks.
Mr. Pierce?
Yes, I think Mr. Nichols covered a lot of them. I had to start at the front and look at some of my little check marks real quick. Bear with me for a second. On page 60, we have an annual support packet cluster and update for police mobile data network, and also a DSL connection in the very next line of 5100. Is that whole network tied into the town's network, or does that go directly to the state?
There's two parts to that question. One is there is one that goes direct to the state that comes through, but as far as we're generally a standalone, we communicate through email with them. We are tied in, and we host the fire department's servers for their CAD system on our servers, but other than that, we're not tied into the town's servers currently, no.
Okay, and answers that.
Packet cluster is our wireless way that the cruisers communicate with the servers. That's
Okay.
what packet cluster is.
That answers that question. And then also another one that sort of jumped out at me was the gasoline. I guess you got that taken care of with Richard's question. I was looking at some of the overtime wages, and you answered Richard's question on that one. So, revolver question, you answered that one, and let me thumb right on through. I think I'm almost to the end of it. Bear with me for a second. Yes, I got one more. Electric. I think didn't we mention at the end of our last meeting, Fred, you're going to go through and look at these electrics?
We are.
And that's going to be for us.
Just for what it's worth, when I brought that up, Mike, I
Yeah.
viewed that as essentially a town-wide project of evaluating, what the pricing is on the
I think we're
brokers.
generally running pretty much flat monthly. We don't have huge fluctuations on our electric. We have some, but not ridiculous
Well,
ones.
I only made the question here for you because
I understand.
we wanted to talk about the electric for the town.
Understood.
So when do you think we're going to have these adjustments, Fred?
Mike and I haven't had a chance to meet on them yet.
Okay. That answers that
But
question.
you'll
That's all.
have them before you vote on your final budget.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
No, you'll have them.
Mr. Moore?